Welcome back. The debate over whether New Zealand should become a republic doesn't get a great deal of airtime, except when there's a visiting royal to ruffle the feathers of those who'd prefer to elect a head of state. We wanted to debate the issue with both sides of the argument, but Monarchy New Zealand said it didn't want to take part in a panel debate. To do so, their spokesperson told us would bring negativity when there is so much positivity around the Queen at the moment. And we would be, quote, demeaning democracy by debating it this way. So we'll leave their throne empty for now and welcome Lewis Holden, chair of the New Zealand Republican Movement. Hi, Lewis. That kind of puts me in the position of being a monarchist. I have been called a princess from time to time, in fairness, so I can probably assume that. What do you oppose the most? Is it the Queen? Is it the monarchy? Is it the head of state? What is it you don't like about it?
Well, it's not so much about opposing anything for us. It's more about creating a New Zealand head of state. That's what our goal is as an organisation. The royals, they fly in, they fly out for tours for a week every 7 or so years, and that's nice. But the reality is that it'll probably actually still happen if we're a republic. William and Kate went to Singapore recently. They've been a republic in the Commonwealth since 1965, so we don't really oppose that.
There hasn't been a great deal of debate about it. Do you think we're a bit apathetic towards it? I don't look at them as necessarily the head of the country. For me, anyway, they're just sort of something there and they roll in from time to time. Isn't that sort of how a lot of New Zealanders view it, though?
Yeah, I think New Zealanders are actually quite apathetic, which in a way actually explains a lot about why the monarchy has survived for so long. Because it doesn't have any relevance to people's day-to-day lives and it doesn't really represent or mean anything to them. It's nice when they turn up and then, a few people will turn up and wave Union Jacks at Prince Charles and that sort of thing. But we're talking about the serious and important issue of who our head of state is and how they get that role.
And who should that be?
Well, we think it should be decided through a series of referendum. That's what we've proposed. But we look at the Governor-General now, who's been a New Zealander since the 60s. That position has actually become basically a de facto head of state. They're the one who actually goes overseas now and represents New Zealand. They've always been a New Zealander since the 60s. And we think, you look at that position, all we have to do to become a republic is actually transition that role into a New Zealand head of state. And that's not legally very difficult to do.
Monarchists would argue, though, that, it's much more stable under a monarchy than a republican, that democracy is more stable under a monarchy than it is, if you're a republic.
Ask the people of Thailand or Papua New Guinea about how stable their monarchies are. I mean, look, there's unstable republics and unstable monarchies. The reality is what makes a country stable is actually its democratic ethos, and that comes down to factors like education and wealth. This has been well studied by political scientists. The reality is that, give us an unstable republic and I can tell you an unstable monarchy. It's here or there.
We're not alone, though. I mean, and some people are. There's a number of countries, obviously, that are part of the Commonwealth. It is part of our history. Not everybody's history, but it is part of our history. It's who we are, and we have this sort of connection to Mother England. But that's it. It's a pretty vague connection,
absolutely. And
there are some benefits. There's our OEs that we all charge across and take. So, it would be disappointing to see those snuffed out.
But we don't oppose any of those things. All of those things would stay. In fact, the majority of countries today in the Commonwealth are republics. So the idea that we'd lose those historical connections, that's it's simply not true. The fact is we would probably keep them. And they'd actually probably be more relevant, seeing our athletes off at the Commonwealth Games because, we'd have our own head of state. We'd actually have someone, Jerry Mataparai went off to London to cheer for Team New Zealand because the Royals, by the way, were cheering for Team GB, and that there symbolises exactly what's wrong with us keeping the monarchy. They're British. We should have a New Zealander as our head of state cheering for Team New Zealand at the Olympics.
And then, of course, we bring the whole flag issue up. What would our flag end up looking like as a republic?
Well, I mean, obviously, a lot of people who support a republic want to change the flag as well. We tend to treat them as separate issues. There probably should be a referendum on having the flag separate to the republic issue. Potentially that may change beforehand. But, I mean, the Canadians changed their flag in 1965 and they're not probably going to become a republic anytime soon. The Jamaicans who are looking at becoming a republic, they actually changed their flag back in the 60s as well. So, it's one issue is sort of related to the other, all to do with national identity.
Absolutely. All right, Lewis Holden, we have to leave it there, chair of the New Zealand Republican Movement.
Thank you.
Thank you.